A message for those who need it. Not every message is meant for everyone, and this one is no different. If what I'm about to say doesn't feel right for you, that's okay. Just take what connects with you and leave the rest. This message might only apply to a few people, maybe 3 or 4. Don't try to force it to fit your life if it doesn't. But if this message is meant for you, you will know deep down. Look within before blaming others. One of the most important things we need to learn in life is the ability to look within ourselves. So often, when things don't go the way we want, we immediately look for someone to blame. We say things like, "This person is the reason I'm not progressing. This situation is the reason I'm not happy. This is why I'm not married yet." But before pointing fingers, ask yourself, could the real issue be within me? I'm not saying that outside forces don't exist. There are times when people or circumstances may try to block our blessings. However, many times, perhaps 9 out of 10 times, the real obstacle is inside us. That's why it's so important to take a step back and reflect. Ask yourself, what am I not seeing? What am I ignoring? What signs have I overlooked? When you ask yourself these questions with honesty, you'll start to see what areas of your life need change. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe it's your choices. Maybe it's your habits. It could be your attitude, your beliefs, or the way you approach relationships and opportunities. God's isolation is a blessing in disguise. Sometimes when God removes people, situations, or relationships from your life, it's not a punishment, it's preparation. He may be pulling you away from certain connections because he wants you to focus on him. He wants you to spend time alone with him so that he can reveal deeper truths to you. If you don't understand the purpose of waiting, you might think something is wrong when, in reality, God is working in your favor. He might be keeping you in a season of waiting so you can grow spiritually, develop new wisdom, heal from past wounds, see things from a new perspective, why certain relationships didn't work out. If you are struggling with a past relationship or connection that ended, this part is for you. Maybe you were in a relationship and thought that person was the one. Maybe you saw a future with them and wanted things to work out so badly. But for some reason, it didn't. And now you find yourself asking, what did I do wrong? Why did this person leave? Who or what is stopping me from having the love I want? Here's the truth. That person was not aligned with God's plan for your life. No matter how much you wanted it to work, no matter how much effort you put in, the reason that relationship ended is that God saw something you couldn't see. Maybe that person wasn't meant for your future. Maybe they weren't capable of growing with you. Maybe their presence in your life would have caused harm that you couldn't predict. It's hard to accept when we want something so badly, but God's plans are always better than our own. Instead of questioning why things didn't work, trust that God is leading you to something greater. The importance of self-reflection. Many times, we block our own blessings without even realizing it. Sometimes it's our mindset, sometimes it's our choices, and sometimes it's the energy we allow into our lives. Instead of blaming external factors, ask yourself, am I truly ready for what I'm asking for? Am I in the right emotional and spiritual state to receive it? Is there something in me that needs to change before I can move forward? When we take the time to self-reflect, we begin to understand that growth comes from within. And when we align ourselves with God's plan, we begin to see doors open that we never expected. God's delays are not denials. If you are waiting for something, a breakthrough, a relationship, a new opportunity, don't get discouraged. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God's timing is perfect, and sometimes delays are actually protection. You might think you're ready for something, but God knows you need more preparation. Maybe He is still working on you. Maybe He is removing certain obstacles that you can't see. Maybe He is waiting for the right moment when everything aligns perfectly. Trust in the process. Trust that God knows what He is doing. And most importantly, trust that everything happening right now is leading you to something better. Life is full of unexpected changes, and sometimes we lose people we thought would be in our lives forever. It might be confusing and painful when a relationship ends, especially when you thought it was meant to last. But I want you to understand something important. God has a plan for you, and sometimes part of that plan includes removing certain people from your life. Even if that person was kind, loving, and good to you, they may not have been the right person for where God is taking you. When a relationship ends, you might feel lost, hurt, or even angry. Maybe you had a plan for your life and that person was part of it. You imagined a future together, only for things to fall apart. But what if the breakup wasn't a mistake? What if it was actually God's way of protecting you and guiding you towards something better? God sees the bigger picture and He knows what's best for you, even when you don't understand it in the moment. Perhaps after your breakup, you made a commitment to focus on God. Maybe you decided to take a break from relationships, spend more time in prayer, and avoid anything that could distract you from growing spiritually. You might have even chosen to stay celibate, dedicating yourself fully to God's plan. In the beginning, you were strong in your decision. You told yourself you would wait for the right person, the one God had chosen for you. But as time passed, you started to feel tired of waiting. 6 months went by and you found yourself wondering, God, when will my person come? When will you bring the right one into my life? Waiting is not easy, especially when you don't understand the purpose behind it. At first, you may have been confident, trusting God's timing. But as the days turned into months, doubt started creeping in. You began to feel impatient, bored, or even lonely. You might have looked around and seen other people getting into relationships, getting engaged, or starting families, and you wondered why it wasn't happening for you. You asked God, why am I still alone? Haven't I been faithful? Haven't I followed your plan? At some point, frustration took over. Maybe you decided to take matters into your own hands. You thought, maybe I just need to put myself out there. Maybe I need to stop waiting and start looking for someone. You convinced yourself that it was okay to go on dates, even if you knew deep down that God had asked you to wait. Eventually, you might have found yourself in a new relationship, even though it didn't feel quite right. Or perhaps you broke your commitment to celibacy because you were tired of being alone. Without realizing it, you stepped ahead of God's plan. But here's what you need to understand. God removed that person from your life for a reason. It wasn't a punishment, it was protection. That person may have been good, but they weren't the right fit for where God is leading you. Maybe you were focusing too much on the outward qualities, how they looked, how much money they had, or how they made you feel. While those things are nice, they don't determine whether someone is truly right for you on a soul level. In this season, God is bringing people together in a way that goes beyond physical attraction or material things. He's connecting people who align spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. It's okay to want a successful partner, but success should not be your main focus. If you want a relationship that lasts, one that is built on love, honesty, loyalty, and kindness, you have to let God lead you to the right person. Sometimes God asks us to wait because He is preparing us for something greater. Maybe you weren't ready before. Maybe there were things in your heart that needed healing, habits that needed to change, or lessons you needed to learn. Instead of seeing waiting as a punishment, see it as a season of growth. Use this time to strengthen your faith, develop yourself, and become the person God created you to be. Think about this. If you knew that waiting just a little longer would lead you to the person God has chosen for you, the one who will truly love, honor, and cherish you, wouldn't it be worth it? Rushing into the wrong relationship can bring heartbreak and regret, but trusting God's timing will lead to lasting joy. It's okay to have dreams and desires for your future, but always leave room for God's plan. Sometimes we get so focused on what we want that we forget to ask God what He wants for us. His plan is always better than ours. He sees things we cannot see. He knows the kind of partner who will truly support and uplift you, not just for a short time, but for a lifetime. If you find yourself growing impatient, take a step back and remind yourself why you started this journey in the first place. Trust that God has not forgotten you. He knows the desires of your heart, and He will fulfill them in His perfect time. Until then, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Spend time with God, grow in your faith, and trust that when the time is right, the right person will come into your life. Remember, what God has for you is not temporary, it is meant to last. Trust His timing, trust His plan, and most importantly, trust that He knows what's best for you. Even when you don't understand, even when waiting feels hard, hold on to faith. Your story isn't over yet, and the best is still to come. Trusting God's plan for your love life. Many times we make plans for our lives based on what we think is best for us. We set goals, create lists, and decide what we want in a partner, a job, and a future. But what happens when things don't go as planned? When what we hoped for doesn't come true? It can be frustrating and confusing, but it's important to remember that God's plan is always greater than ours. If you are still single and wondering why marriage hasn't happened for you yet, it may be time to reflect on whether your desires align with God's plan for your life. Perhaps God intended for you to be married by now, but your own expectations and choices have been getting in the way. You may have been looking for the wrong things in a partner, focusing more on what they look like or what they have, rather than the qualities that truly matter in a lifelong relationship. God's plan versus our plan. We often make lists of what we want in a partner. We may say, I want someone who is tall, handsome, financially stable, and well-dressed. There's nothing wrong with wanting a partner who is attractive and successful, but these qualities alone do not guarantee happiness. Many people have everything on the outside but cannot bring you true peace, love, and emotional security. God wants to give you a partner who will love you deeply, respect you, and bring you peace. He wants to give you someone who truly understands you and supports your purpose in life. But sometimes we are so focused on physical qualities or material success that we overlook the deeper qualities that make a relationship strong and lasting. If you are still single and waiting for the right person, take a step back and ask yourself, am I looking for the right qualities in a partner? Do my desires align with what God wants for me? Am I focused on temporary things, or am I looking for a love that will last a lifetime? Aligning your desires with God's will. As you prepare for your future, it's important to align your desires with God's will. Instead of asking for a partner who simply looks good or has a lot of money, pray for someone who will love and respect you the way God does. Ask for a partner who will understand your heart and soul, someone who will stand by your side through good times and bad. Your prayer might sound like this: Lord, give me a partner who loves me the way you love me. God, bless me with someone who will respect me and support my purpose. Help me find a partner who values kindness, honesty, and faithfulness above all else. By shifting your focus to these qualities, you open yourself up to receiving the love that God truly wants for you. Becoming the right partner first. One important truth is that we attract what we are. If you want a loving, kind, and respectful partner, you must also be loving, kind, and respectful. You cannot ask for a partner who is faithful and honest if you are not willing to be the same. Before seeking the right person, work on becoming the right person. Focus on growing spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Learn to love yourself, develop your character, and build a strong relationship with God. When you become the best version of yourself, you will naturally attract the right kind of love. Ask yourself, am I emotionally ready for a healthy relationship? Do I have the qualities that I am looking for in a partner? Am I willing to grow and become better before meeting my future spouse? When you focus on self-improvement and spiritual growth, you prepare yourself to receive the love that God has planned for you. Letting go of the wrong relationships. Sometimes we hold on to relationships that are not meant for us. We stay with someone out of fear, attachment, or the belief that we have invested too much time to walk away. However, if a relationship is not aligned with God's plan for your life, it is better to let it go. Signs that a relationship may not be right for you. You feel unhappy or unsettled. The person does not respect your values or beliefs. You constantly have to compromise your peace. You are staying because of time, not love. If a relationship is not bringing you closer to God or helping you grow, it may be time to move on. Letting go can be difficult, but trust that God has something better for you. Trusting God's timing. Many people feel pressured to get married by a certain age. Society, family, and friends may make you feel like you are running out of time, but God's timing is always perfect. If you are still waiting for the right person, it's because God is preparing you for the best. Instead of worrying about when marriage will happen, focus on preparing yourself for the blessing that is coming. Use this time to build your faith, develop your character, and grow in wisdom. The right person will come at the right time when you are truly ready. Taking action in faith. While it's important to trust God's plan, it's also important to take action. Faith without works is dead. If you desire marriage, prepare yourself for it. This doesn't mean rushing into a relationship, but rather positioning yourself to receive what God has for you. Here are some practical steps to take. Pray for wisdom and guidance in choosing a partner. Surround yourself with positive and faith-filled people. Work on personal growth and healing. Be open to meeting new people and building meaningful connections. When you take action in faith, you show God that you are ready for His blessings. Final thoughts. If you are still single, know that there is nothing wrong with you. Your love story is being written by God, and His plans are greater than anything you can imagine. Trust Him, align your desires with His will, and prepare yourself for the love He is destined for you. Let go of unrealistic expectations. Focus on what truly matters and be open to receiving the right person at the right time. Whether you are 30, 35, 40, or older, it is never too late for love. God's blessings are not limited by age or time. Stay faithful, keep growing, and believe that the right person will come into your life when the time is right. Divine blessings to you.